Hello Internet friends, I'm Todd Clint. In today's video we will talk about how to add your custom domain to your Office 365 tenant. Now this will be one of a couple of videos that I do about this. There will be Office 365, there will be PowerShell, there will be identity synchronization, there'll be mystery, there'll be intrigue. It's all in there. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see the whole story. You don't just want to get the first act, you want to get all three acts, get the resolution and all that kind of stuff. Sign up below. How do you sign up? Good question. Well, you can go to toddclint.com. That is my blog. That's where I live on the internet. And if you go to toddclint.com/YouTube, that will take you through the magic of redirection to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/toddclintnetcast. And then you can hit subscribe there and you'll get a notice when I do all of my great videos. Enough about me. It might not be, but enough for now. Let's go on and talk about adding your custom domain to Office 365. So here you are, you're an Office 365 administrator. You got a bright, shiny new Office 365 tenant, but it's got some cruddy name. At the best, it's yourcompany.onmicrosoft.com. At the worst, it's some random characters and numbers and maybe a click and a bang and a hieroglyph and a banana peel or something. Nothing that screams production. You need to add your own domain to it. And that's what we're going to show you how to do today. To do this, you will need two things. You will need the Office 365 tenant that you're going to add your domain to, and you need the domain. Now for your tenant, you need to be a tenant admin to do this. And for your domain, you need to be able to make DNS changes. We'll see about why all those things are necessary later in this video. If you want to follow along while I read aloud, you can do all that, and you can probably do it for free. For the Office 365 part, all you need is an Office 365 tenant of any flavor. I wouldn't recommend doing this on production for your first time, though it will work, but you should probably use something else. You can get an Office 365 trial tenant. Microsoft is very generous. They give E3 trial tenants out. Now, the URL to get there is really long and it's complicated to browse there. I put a short URL at toddclint.com/office365 E3 trial. I'll have a link below. I'm going to have a blog post about all this. But if you go there, you can sign up for a trial tenant. That will work for this. If you're a Microsoft partner, you can go to demos.microsoft.com and sign up for a demo tenant. Same deal, all free, all will work for this example. So get that laid out, get you a trial tenant, get you a demo tenant, whatever, and then you'll need an internet domain. Now, if you're a digital pack rat like I am, a nerd, you probably have a bunch of internet domains just laying around from a great idea that you had back in 1997 for the best new website there ever was going to be, and you bought that domain and you've been renewing it every year, spending the $12 or whatever it is. You can use that domain. You can use any domain you want to. It's just got to be an internet domain, and you have to be able to make DNS changes with it. Great to test through and walk through this. Obviously, when you go into production, you'll want to use your company's domain because you want your email addresses to look correct and things like that. But you probably have one laying around that you can test with. And of course, when you're all done, you can undo all this, remove your domain from your tenant, all those things, and be able to use them again. So if you've got all those things, let's dig into it, and let's actually look and see what it takes. Let's jump into a browser. All right, so the first thing that you need to do is log into your tenant. So you can go to portal.office.com, log in, click the admin square. That takes you to the admin center at portal.office.com/admin portal. And you see something like you see here on this screen. The domain piece is under setup and under domains. So go ahead and click that. And I think you seem like a pretty smart audience. You guys strike me as pretty on the ball. I think you can probably figure out what we click next. And even if you couldn't figure it out, Microsoft has highlighted it for you. So we're going to go ahead and click Add Domain. Microsoft has done a very good job making this easy to do. They've even added a video to this page to help you walk through this process. But little do they know, you already have this video. You don't need that video. So we'll just go ahead and do this. The domain that I will be adding for this is tkdemo.com. And Microsoft shows you here what your email addresses and that will look like. That looks right. Let's do that. So let's hit next. adding the domain, whirring. Microsoft is making sure that nobody else already has that domain. Here's where things get a little tricky. Nothing you can't handle, but a little tricky. Microsoft needs to verify that you own this domain so that you're not some joker and you try to add google.com or something like that. They want to make sure that you own this domain, and the best way they can think of to do that is with a DNS record. Now, if you're in the US, Microsoft has a deal with GoDaddy, one of the popular registrars here, that you can do it in the browser and it'll add a little iframe and you can log into GoDaddy and they'll do all the things. That works great. I've done that myself a bunch of times. It's very easy to do. For this, though, we're not going to do that because that only works with GoDaddy and only works in the US. So we're going to do another option. We're going to add a text record. Now, I told you before, you needed to be able to edit your domain names DNS records. That's what this will require. If you can't do that in production, there's another method in the middle, a verification email, where Microsoft will go into your domain's DNS record, look for the owner of that record and send them an email and say, somebody's trying to add your domain to Office 365. If you agree, here are the changes to make, and they'll have that person do it. So that works great in large organizations where you own Office 365, you own Exchange, you own SharePoint, whatever, but you don't own security or you don't own DNS. Here's one way to get around that. Microsoft takes care of all that. But in this world, you're the king or queen, so you can add the text record yourself. So let's do that. Let's click Next. So here are the text records that we can add. This is pretty simple. We also have the option of adding an MX record. That's the mail exchanger record. I would not recommend doing that because once you make that MX record change, all your email is going to go to this tenant. You probably don't want that right now. So just do the text record. That's pretty painless. We're going to click the thing here that says copy to clipboard. We're going to go ahead and click that. Copied, awesome. I have gone to the trouble of logging into my registrar, which is GoDaddy. We will do that. You can see that there are no text records in there right now. Let's add one. So we're going to go down here. We're going to click Add Record. Select Type. We're going to select Text. Our host is the @. That's DNS's way of saying this domain. And we want this record to specify for the entire domain. And we're just going to plug that random number in. And this is just Microsoft saying, I gave you a random number. I'm going to go check for a random number. If they're the same, I believe that you own that domain. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to save it. It's in there now. We're good to go. In your DNS management, make sure there's not like a save option in here somewhere. Make sure that it actually gets written in, it gets confirmed. GoDaddy's is pretty good. There's no save buttons. We're probably good to go. Now, because of the way DNS works and caching all over the internet and the safeguards and all that, it might not work right away, but it probably works right away. So let's go ahead and go back to the admin center, and we're still on the same page where we copy that out. Let's go down here and click verify. Office 365's whirring and going out to the internet, verifying. Please wait. The anticipation is killing me. Verifying domain. Verifying domain some more. This always takes so long. I'll edit this out and post. It'll seem much happier. Hey, we made it. Okay, so our domain is verified. Now, what Microsoft knows is that Office 365 is of no value to you without a bunch of other DNS records made. You can't get email here until you set your MX records. You can't use Skype for Business until you set your SIP records, all those kind of things. And so Microsoft wants to do that for you now. You can go ahead and do that. Again, you've got this option with GoDaddy, or we will do the ad ourselves. Because this is a test tenant, and because I want to keep this video short and keep it germane to what you're doing, we will just look at this, but we'll skip it for now. So here, Microsoft is going to show you all of the records that you're going to need for your Office 365 tenant to be fully operational on the internet. So it's generating this whole list. The good news is when we skip this, we're not going to add this. You can come back and get these settings anytime you want to. So once you get this part nailed down, you can come back in a week and add them in a month, whatever. We're going to skip this step because we don't care. So the good news is your domain is now added to Office 365. So let's click skip here and see the all of our hard work. We're going to hit skip here. That's all the records that we would do. We are finished. So now we're going back to our domains page. It's been sitting in the background. We can see now that TK demo has been added, which is good. Two things, you'll notice that the default domain is still the generated domain is the default domain. We're probably going to want to make this one the default. So if we click it, we can come up here, set as default. This means that any new users that are created or whatever will be created for TK demo, which is probably what we want. The other thing that we see, and it looks kind of scary, is this possible service issues and this scary looking yellow triangle over here. That just means our DNS records haven't been set up. And we already knew that. This is nothing scary, but we have successfully added the domain to our Office 365 tenant. Now we can set up identity sync or email or whatever we'd like to. So this is just the beginning. We've just scratched the surface. If you'd like to find out what to do next, again, go to toddclint.com/YouTube. Jump over to my YouTube channel, subscribe, and we will talk about the next pieces. Leave me some feedback below in the comments section. Let me know if you want to hear how to do this in PowerShell, or if your interface looks a little different than this. This was recorded in July of 2017. Microsoft probably changed this interface 16 times. Between now and when you watch this video. So let me know and I can update it. If you want to see pieces of the identity sync, let me know about that too. Thanks everybody. I'm Todd Clint. You can hit me up, todd@toddclint.com, @toddclint on Twitter, or toddclint.com on your web browser. Thanks. Let me know what you think.